All right. Well, goal number one for me today, this afternoon, was to make sure that unbelievable highlight was not the best part of the afternoon. That video we showed, wow, was that impressive. Gave me chills watching it. All of the incredible players that we've had here through the years, incredible teams. You saw, obviously, Urban. He and I were texting. I sent it to him. He said, I think you'll enjoy this. And obviously had Coach Mata's team and Evan and a couple of our former players were arguing back there. Terrence was upset that Dockage got a shot in there, and I don't think TD did. So they can take that up with the video department. That's out of my control. But what a great kind of way to tip off the day. There was great having Coach Day here, spending time with him in the locker room. So obviously I know this win means a lot to Buckeye Nation. We've got a lot of respect for this Michigan team. And as I've said a number of times, they compete, they play hard, they're gifted, they're talented. I think they're really well coached with Juwan. Really well coached. I think they're going to have a great finish to the season. So we've got great respect for them. Bottom line is players win games. Our older guys stepped up and made major plays today, and it's a credit to them.
Chris, we were asking a little bit about this yesterday, but played really well in February, started off March with a nice win here. It just seems like the connectedness that you guys had early has sort of come back a little bit. I don't know. Do you want to take all the credit for that yourself? Or
No.
How did you guys sort of like get that back, understanding that doesn't guarantee you?
It's a good question, Bill, because I see it too, and I think trying to put your finger on when that started to come back and what brought that about. Listen, we realized plenty of people wrote us off when we were 2-6. I made fun of us. Had people kind of making fun of us and putting all their sarcastic tweets out there. I got them all saved, all of them. So listen, that we get it. I think we had to close ranks and find a way to try to come together, perform better, and own why we were struggling and what we were doing to struggle. Coaches, players own it. And again, that goes back to the guys in the locker room, particularly our captains. They've owned the fact that we have to perform better.
Apologize for the sarcastic tweets. CJ has
Yours weren't the most offensive, by the way.
CJ's been playing really well over the last month, like as sort of coincided with him playing, but to score the way he did in the paint tonight,
Yeah.
I don't think he might have tied like a career high for 2 field goals. I think. Just
Yeah.
what was he seeing out there from your vantage point for a lot of it?
I think the way they were playing allowed him to kind of get in the paint. He made some good decisions off that. Again, so much of what we do is predicated off of Caleb's ability to stretch you from the middle of the floor. I thought he did a really good job in the second half. He struggled finishing through contact in the first half, but I thought he defended. I thought he stayed engaged. But Caleb's ability to stretch that 5, or at least present issues for that 5, allows CJ and other guys to make decisions. I thought CJ was great at attacking and finding seams. His floor game and his play in general, in terms of his floor game, has been outstanding. For really about how long? About 4 weeks now, maybe, with the exception of a few games. I mean, his assist turnover ratio is #1 in the Big Ten right now. And as you said, he struggled at times finishing 2-point field goals, but not today.
Andre and Caleb, I think both of them banked in a three-pointer there down the stretch, and sometimes you need to bounce to kind of go your way. I mean, but that whole stretch, 23-9 after it was tied, the last I think 5+ minutes, just seems like you got so much started out of your defense and not allowing them to score, and then hitting the big shot at the other end. Yeah,
obviously the bank didn't. They were playing good defense. We just fortunately we got it up on goal. Both Wessons. I told them, fellas, living right. You get both those banked in. But I thought both guys, Andre and Caleb, played really solid games. But it was, you get some of those, and there'll be times where somebody will bank one against us. But it's tough. It can be a little bit of a backbreaker in those situations. I think all in all, our guys, the biggest thing, as you said, was our defense there late. Our defense was really good.
You guys were 4 games under 500, as you put out there, 2-6 at one time. Now you're guaranteed nothing worse than 500. It could go 2 over if you win these last 2 games. Just the turnaround in general, and just what's still out there for you guys because of the position you put yourselves in.
Yeah, it's I have been a part of some turnarounds from a difficult January, but I don't think I've been a part of one this significant, where you've seen such a dramatic turnaround. And again, after the season, we'll sit down and try to figure out Sonny's calling somebody's phone. We'll try to figure out why exactly that is, but we've really had a dramatic shift. And again, I give credit to our players on that, because I think they've just owned the progress of this group, Steve, and they own some of the struggles that we had, as we all had to.
I'm sure you, as a coach, it's probably a little disconcerting to have 8 healthy eligible players and then run maybe like a 6-7 man rotation, but you also sort of backed yourself into a situation where these guys fit together a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's obvious to, those that follow us and watch us. I think have seen that there's now. Obviously, we need Kyle back. We're not a better team without Kyle. I'd like to have more depth than what we did. Ibrahima gave us good minutes the other day. EJ continues to play well. Justin, I thought, was really solid in his minutes today. But we need more. I was a little concerned when Caleb got that early illegal screen. I was almost upset with myself that we didn't talk to him more about that in terms of that particular action. But he did a great job playing through that in the first half. That's why he played a little bit less. But yeah, we've got a really good way about us with the tighter rotation. I don't know if that's as sustainable right now as we'd like for it to be, but it's working right now.
CJ 15 and 7, I think only 1 turnover too, and it just seems like you said it's been 3-4 weeks of prolonged play like this, and if you think about like 4 weeks ago, that's about when DJ Carton left the team. I just wonder, was there anything mental that he changed his mindset at all and took over that way, or was it just sort of the season developed?
I think you'd have to ask him that. My guess is he probably realizes, hey, listen, I'm going to have to, if we're going to progress as a team. CJ Walker, I've said he's going to be a really good coach one day. He's going to be a really good coach. And, I love the kid, and he's going to be a heck of a coach. And I think that he realized that he was going to have to lead and coach this team, and there was going to be more on his shoulders, and he's embraced that with the absence of DJ.
When your guards are rebounding the way Dwayne and CJ did today, how does that help your team?
Well, defensively, they've got to do it. We work on it every day. It's a big part of what we do because we are undersized. But they've done a really good job at competing. It's an expectation. You're coming out if you're not going to defensive rebound. You're coming out of the game. So they had to learn that early on.
And then a couple of weeks ago, you talked about how guys were still needing to figure out what their roles are. And it seemed like was today maybe like a great example of everybody was I don't want to say cool with their role, but everybody excelled in whatever their role is on their team.
Yeah, I do think the rotation when it gets tighter, in general, to your point, I think in the last 5 or 6 weeks we've settled more into our roles, and that's probably a factor in the reason that we're performing better. Because I think there were probably times where we fought a little bit in January.
How much is some of the? Go ahead.
I think it was like a 2-point game at the under 8. When you're in those situations and you don't have Kyle, you're just thinking to yourself, man, we can really use Kyle Young in a scrappy position.
No, not in that moment because I knew we wouldn't have him. I think what I was trying to do is figure out, okay, how can we put ourselves in a better position to get better offense, and how do we get a stop? But he does bring kind of that junkyard dog that you need in moments like that.
Are you impressed with your team that you guys can find a way to win that kind of game and how scrappy it was at times?
Yeah.
Without him on the
Yes.
without him in the lineup?
Yes. Yeah, it helps, it helps being at home. Our crowd, whoa, unbelievable. Wow. These last couple, now we need a big one on Thursday. They've got, obviously, I think I said that, with honoring the 1960 national champion team and all that comes with that. And Senior Day is just so important to me that we prepare well for Senior Day, but our crowd was outstanding. So that does help being at home, but I thought we had some guys scrap today.
Offensively, how much does it help when Dwayne hits like 2 or 3 where it almost looks like he's not looking at the basket?
You're saying he wasn't looking at the basket?
Yeah, he just seems like he has these bursts where he'll hit 2 or 3 shots in rapid fire.
He does. Yeah, he sure does. I think, some of it you got to live with it, and some of it he's got to keep. But yeah, he just plays with outstanding confidence. He always has, and when he has it rolling like that, it really elevates us now. He's got to continue to do other things. I thought one of the things he's done these last couple weeks when he's not made shots is attack the rim better. But it was hard to attack the rim with Teskey and their size today. We just couldn't do it.
And then offensively, as a group, it seems like you're able to maybe do a few things you couldn't do earlier in the season. You've got some guys that are getting to the rim a little bit more.
Yeah.
Looks like have you had to tweak things? Are guys playing with more freedom, or have you sort of scripted things a little bit to where the offense seems to feel a little different than it did a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, we have had to tweak a lot of things. We have, and we've added some different stuff that we felt like would fit this team better. And we've also had to adjust now with Kyle out, but we have, and I think we're settling into some of the stuff that we feel like we run better offensively.
And to the degree that you've had to make changes, are you comfortable with having to make however much you had to change? Is that normal for this time of year? Are you okay with having to do that much change, or is this
It's something
different this year?
It's something we've always done as a staff. Yeah, we've been pretty fluid, even into February with kind of what we run and tweaking and changing things. Not dramatically, but we've had to.
You've had teams, I'm sure, on rolls where you get a feeling as a coach that they're on a roll. You're 8-2 in your last 10 Big Ten games, tied for best in the league over that stretch. Does it feel like you're on a roll? And if so, could you contrast it to what the feeling is like for this role compared to some others that you've had where teams just steamroll people?
I don't think I've had one like this.
Why?
Not in a league this great. One year at Butler, we had one. We were 7-2 in the last 9, I believe. After starting out, I forget. I think we were 12-6 that year. But not at a league this good, and what to make of it. I'm so hesitant to make that a permanent thing, Bruce, just because I'm just concerned about, are we rolling tomorrow? What's our preparation tomorrow in practice? I don't think that's permanent. Clearly, you can look back at the last, 10 games and say we have played well for the most part in most of those games. But I'm so hesitant to stamp and say, listen, that's where we're at right now. We'll see how we perform against a really good Illinois team.
Are you hesitant because of the personnel you have and the limitations you have with injuries and assorted things, or because of the league you're in?
I'm hesitant because of the league we're in. I trust our guys. I'm hesitant because of the league we're in, and I'm hesitant because, I'm a maniac when I'm a little bit paranoid when it comes to that stuff.
Why didn't 9-1 come to your mind when you thought about rolls?
Excuse me?
Why didn't 9-1 to start this season come to your mind when you were thinking about rolls?
Unequal competition. Yeah, it's apples and oranges. People talk about the starts, and we played a good schedule. People, always throw that in our face with the start. Listen, some of those games you could argue, right? 4, 5, 6 of those games you could argue we should definitely win. It's not necessarily talent-equated games. It's apples and oranges.
How close was Kyle to being available, and what does it look like for him going forward now a couple days till you play again?
Kyle is working every day with Brad. I'm hesitant to get too much. He is improving. I will say this right now. He's improving. I wouldn't want to give a percentage on how close he was today, but he is improving. It's a little bit now like, okay, do we want to wait until he's really good to go? We want to get him back as early, but we want to get him back for the stretch run of our season where he can be healthy.
Chris, dumb question at the press conference. How important was it to get the sweep today?
Well, listen, it's not a dumb question because I've been here now 3 years, and it's different in basketball. We've talked about that, but it matters. It matters to everybody that cares about this place, to everybody that's been here. It matters to our former players. It matters to our former coaches. It matters. So I'd be naive to say that it didn't, feel good.
And when you're coming into a game like this, being as shorthanded as you are you guys coming up with some sort of game plan to kind of keep your guys' energy level in place and sustainable for the entirety of the game?
Yeah, I think so. What we're doing is we're looking at alternate ideas and thoughts if we get into foul trouble in the first half. Who are we going to play? What are we going to do? Are we going to play a different type of a defense? Or are we going to have to adjust to how we play? That's what our main thing is.
Is the fact that your bench shouldn't, is it a silver lining for you in that you've had to kind of let the leash out and let these guys play through some things themselves?
Probably helps them. It's probably helped our team in some ways. Again, I'm not sure it's completely sustainable, but it's probably helped them in some ways and probably helped our team. But yeah. Anything else, guys?
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.